it going, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today this is a very interesting one. So without further ado, let's go on ahead and travel to the future so we can meet the Robinsons. So yeah, I decided to pick this one for one of my first few movie reviews for this one because of it is a pretty interesting Disney movie, a pretty underrated one as well because of it was released around in the 2000s, and the 2000s was a pretty low year for Disney. But without further ado, I'm very curious on watching this. So without further ado, make sure you guys sit down, relax, grab a snack or something, and then enjoy the movie review. But wait, hold up. Silly me. I forgot the few rules. For those who have seen this movie, because it is almost 20 years old, you guys might be a little familiar with it. It's, yeah, you might recognize it, but for those who hasn't, this may contain some spoilers. So if you want to avoid those spoilers, first off, pause me, then go on ahead and check it out on Disney Plus, or if you own the DVD of Meet the Robinsons, then you can watch it in there. And then when you're done watching, you can go on ahead and unpause me, and then continue on. Or if you're a leaker sneaker, go ahead, by all means. But also, of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a like. And don't forget to share this to your friends who are big fans of Disney, of course. And yep. And I've seen the subscriber count. I'm almost close to 600. So without further ado, keep on subscribing. So with that, now let's get started. It starts off with the young and brilliant-minded orphan named Louis who wants to get adopted, but he is a creative genius, but sadly, due to his creative invention, and it oftentimes scare away the parents who would try to adopt him. Like recently, he tried to show him a PB&J invention, but it didn't go out too well since one of the parents had peanut allergies. So with that, Louis felt like he is an outsider to every parent who tried to adopt him, but Louis is determined to find someone, but the only thing he could think of that would want to accept him is his own mother that dropped him in that orphanage. But the problem is, nobody has seen or at least remembered him except for Louis, which came up with the brilliant idea to create a mind scanner, which he started to build every day and every night. But most of the times when he built it, it didn't work out very well as it mostly exploded. But for this time at the science fair, Louis is determined that it will work. So with that, he brought it up to the science fair, which he also met this boy named Wilbur, who tried to warn him that a buller-hatted guy is trying to sabotage it. However, Louis didn't believe that, so with that, he went off and showed up the science experiment. However, something went wrong. It started to malfunction. As it turns out, the bowler hat guy and his robotic cat had sabotaged the invention, and it went all crazy, like it nearly destroyed all the other kids' science fair projects and caused the sprinklers in the gym to shower down. So with that, Louis then realized that his best invention that he could have had was a complete failure and decided to leave. But as for the bowler hat guy, it was actually a part of the plan to make sure that he gets Louis's inventions and bring up to the Inventco. However, the machine was too complicated for the bowler hat guy, and the first time it happened, it did not go out too well. So with that, he decided to grab Louis to tell him how it works. Meanwhile, Louis was still upset about his plan and his invention that didn't go out too well. So with that, he then started to planning on giving up. However, Wilbur denies it as he said that he must continue off in the science fair or else the future will not be obsolete, like it won't continue off like in his future. But Lewis didn't believe him. So with that, Wilbur needed to prove him that he is from the future. So with that, Wilbur decided to take Lewis to the future where everything looked all happy and the everything was all futuristic as the buildings were instantly built. They traveled in bubbles and tubes, and they even have flying cars. They were all built by Wilbur's dad, Cornelius Robinson. So with that, he was very impressed with it, and Wilbur didn't decide to bring him back. However, Lewis then thought of something. Since he's in a time machine, he can use it to go back in time to stop his mom from giving him up. However, Wilbur denies it, which then caused them to a fight around the time machine, causing it to break. Uh-oh, looks like Wilbur's in trouble. They soon realized that they have to get the time machine fixed. However, Lewis had made a deal with Wilbur that if he fixes it, he would take him back to see his mom, which Wilbur reluctantly accepted. And with that, they have to pull in the time machine into the garage where they have to be fixed, but also have to hide Lewis that he was from the past because if Wilbur's family found out, there could be some consequences. But Lewis is wondering why though, but he wouldn't answer it. So with that, Lewis had to wear this freaky fruit hat and had to stay in the garage for a while. However, Lewis accidentally left the garage where he entering the house of the Robinsons and where he met the family. Won't be able to cover it because it is a big one and hard to recognize. So anyways, after that, they all decided they went back into the garage when Wilbur found him. So with that, they went back to the garage where they went off to fix the science machine, but Lewis had some few questions about the time machine, but all Wilbur had to keep saying is, keep moving forward. That's his dad's motto, as every time one of his best inventions failed, he never gave up and decided to keep on moving forward. That was the whole story of the time machines, because after the first few attempts, they all failed, but 2 time machines are working. One of them is broken and they tried to fix it, while the other one was stolen by the bowler hat guy, which he then arrived to the future where he will capture Lewis to get him to fix the machine. But it wouldn't be that easy because of Lewis is inside of the house and they would try to find a way to get him out of it and capture him. Meanwhile, after a failed attempt and when Lewis got a new hat from that funky fruit hat, they attempted to make it work again, but didn't work out too well. So with that, they need to find a way until Franny then called them for dinner. So without no choice, they then decide to go up and have some nice dinner, which was Italian for the first course, and something that was familiar, the PB&J machine. So with that, they tried to have some, but Carl the robot's mechanism couldn't work, so Lewis then offered to fix it, which was a good confidence boost for him to help him fix the machine. So with that, it was fixed, but didn't work out too well, and rather than either pointing at him or saying that he failed, they actually congratulate him for that he failed because, as they say, keep moving forward. However, The party was soon crashed when a big dinosaur appeared, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it attacked them. However, the family worked together to stop the dinosaur. However, Wilbur then noticed something that was wearing a super teeny tiny hat, which belonged to the bowler hat guy. As it turns out, he went back in time to steal a dinosaur in order to capture Lewis, which Doris wasn't too pleased about. However, with the team effort from the Robinson family along with Lewis, they managed to get the hat off of him, and the dinosaur was back into his old self. And after that, they offered Lewis to adopt him after they were learning that he was an orphan. Lewis would be pleased. However, the moment was too soon when Wilbur had to spill the beans that he was actually from the past and has to go back to his own time. But again, they never explained it. However, Lewis then also found out that Wilbur lied to him, that he wouldn't take him back to see his mom, but to take him back into the science fair. Displeased, Lewis then left them, and as for Wilbur, he is grounded. However, the bowler hat guy appeared and made a deal with Lewis, is that if he shows him how the machine works, he would take him to his mom, which Lewis agreed, and they appeared on a familiar place where Lewis was then fixing it, and then told him how it works, but it turns out it was another lie, as he then tied him up and told him about everything in his plans. As it turns out, the bowler hat guy was actually his old roommate, Mike Yagubian, or most people will call him Goob, as all the times inventing the machine, it kept him awake all this time, and during his chance at the Little League games, he blew it, and with that, he didn't get the chance to be adopted, and everyone except for him was. And with that, he had been left behind. So with that, the bowler hat guy then blamed Lewis on everything that he did and decided that he would get even by ruining the future that he created. But he would say his future, but why? As it turns out, Lewis was actually Wilbur's dad. Oh man, what a big plot twist, and explains why he has to hide everything, including his hair. So with that, but Wilbur and Carl appeared, and they were trying to rescue Lewis, which he then got the machine and attempted to return back into the Robinson house. However, Doris was caught up to them, and they stole the machine back and went back in time, and everything in that future was changing. It all turned out to be this dystopian world ruled by Doris. As it turns out, Doris was also an invention of Lewis for the this project called the Helping Hat for assistance. However, Doris knew that she was meant for more, as she also developed mind controlling powers. But after they shut him down, Doris then vowed revenge on Lewis by changing the time where she becomes the ruler of the world. And with that, she accomplished it, as everything was made by the mechanical hats were controlling every people in town in her control. So with that, Lewis had one thing to do: fix the time machine and then go back in time to the time where the bowler hat guy almost signed a contract to selling the inventions along with the replica of the Doris Helping hats to accomplish their goals, as Lewis told him that Doris was actually using him to control the future and decided not to invent her. And with that, Doris was wiped out of the existence. And with that, Lewis then took the bowler hat guy to the dystopian future, as it would be a very ugly truth about that the bowler hat guy's friend was the Doris, and then it all went back to normal. The future was back to the way it was. Even Wilbur came back from existence, which I probably forgot to mention. However, he was distrustful about him due to his plans to eliminate him. But since Lewis is willing to help out his old roommate, he pulled out the father move and order Wilbur to offer him to stay at the Robinsons' place. However, due to the bad things he did during his attempt to ruin Lewis, he left for a chance for redemption. And after that, they all reunited with the Robinson family, and where they met Cornelius Robinson, who turns out to be the future Lewis. And after that, the future Lewis then decided to take him to his lab where all of his personal inventions are, including the one thing that he is proud of, the memory scanner. The young Lewis then asked him if he would use it or the time machine. Would he go back to the time where he met his mom? However, Cornelius then advised him or himself to think about the life that he would create. So with that, they all decided to say goodbye to Lewis and even adopted the dinosaur. However, as soon as Wilbur then used the time machine to travel back in time, however, they actually traveled back farther because it was actually the same time when Lewis's mom dropped him off at the orphanage, which then Lewis went off to get his mom's attention to stop her from leaving him as a baby. However, Lewis then learned that if he did, then the future that he saw wouldn't even exist, and that he actually found a family, just not yet. So at that, he decided not to, and they went back to the time of the science fair where Lewis said a memorial goodbye to Wilbur, and sooner or later he will be his son. Because again, Lewis is the father of Wilbur in the future. So at that, Lewis then went back to the school to try the machine again, but not also to help the young goob wake up in order to win the Little League, which was a huge accomplish. No bowler hat guy this time. Anyways, after they went back to the gym, the machine was actually working, but instead of himself, he actually volunteered one of the judges, who turns out to be the science lady who had a memory of her wedding, which turns out to be the same parents that they decided to adopt him. As the press came in that he was impressed with the invention, decided to make a deal with him. And so with that, he was adopted and went out to this nice place where they had a nice big room for Lewis, so that way he can start planning for his next inventions, including Carl, for the future. Even if he fails, he will keep on moving forward. Which was the same quotes from the man that started it all, Walt Disney. It actually showed a quote in the near end of the film before the credits, so yep. Anyways, this film really brings out a message to all that even if you fail, you keep on moving forward until you get a success. And I can totally understand it because of one, I'm doing my driving lessons and I haven't given up on that. So with that, my current goal is to make sure I do enough driving and do so great that I can get my driver's license, which is my current goal for this year. And for my lifetime goal is to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers so I can have my dream of having my YouTubing and my YouTubing skills and making videos a lifelong career on YouTube. So, yep. And I'm close. I just need at least 400 more to get to 1,000. So that'll be my goal until I finally, accomplishment. So, yep. So, anyways, it's a pretty interesting Disney film. Not really one of my all-time favorites, but really gives out the message that you have to keep moving forward to the future and never look back into the past. So, yeah, this is a pretty interesting film. I don't mind it, so, yep. Also, of course, the traveling to the future is a very impressive one, which it's time for me for this question of the day. If you travel to the future or to the past, what time would you want to go? For me, I have two ideas for both the past and the future. For the past, I would travel back to the time when all my favorite Disney movies and some few non-Disney movies were released on the same very year, so I can see the reaction of the people who are watching it. As for the future, I would travel to the future of the movies for my animated movie wish list, that if they came true and if they were released. So yep. So without further ado, that's the question of the day. So without further ado, thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure you stay tuned for some more awesome videos coming up real soon, like some more Pokemon videos, especially for Gen 10 videos coming up real soon. Don't forget to subscribe, of course. Leave a like. Share this with your friends who are big fans of Disney or this film. And comment down below what are your thoughts on this movie review. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The link's down below in the description. And I'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.
Hey, it's me, BDH, but I'm also known as the Brick Dragon Hero. That video was great, huh, Applex? You said it, BBJ. And if you want to see more of the Brick Dragon Hero videos, all you gotta do is subscribe. Follow Brick Dragon Hero on Instagram. Like for this video. Share this with your friends.
And comment down below what you think of that video.
And don't forget to check out the last video. So thanks for watching and have a brick day.